guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be the end of the year wrap up, and I'm going to do it a little bit different this year because I don't really have like a top 5 bottom 5 or top 3 bottom 3. I would say that 2024 for me was a very meh 3 stars, mostly reads. I would say like I did find a really good manga that I liked, Attack on Titan, but overall like very middle of the road. A lot of the stuff, like nothing like stands out to me as like a 5 star, like obvious 5 star. So good, like everyone should read this. And I didn't even have like a bunch of rant worthy books, which is very unusual for me. As I like to rant, but I was just like, no, this is just mediocre. It's just not great. So 2024, the year, crazy. 2024, my reading is just like, whatever. So I'm gonna do it like award style. So like worst character, most memorable book, like stuff like that. But first I want to talk about the last book that I read, which is the novelization of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And I was super excited to get this as an early Christmas gift. And so yeah, I'm going to go over that first. And then if you want to skip to my best and worst, you can do that. So let's talk about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I really like this, but I am a Godzilla fan. If you're not, I don't know that you're going to gain anything from the novelization. The main thing that I was super happy about was the whole part in the book where they're talking about each individual Titan escaping from their Monarch facility, like their containment, and I loved it. So like I was so into it. It was like super exciting. I'm just like, okay, what monster will be next? But I like monsters, so there's that. I don't feel like the human characters are great. I felt the same way about the movie. For me, the American versions of the Godzilla movies, especially these new ones in the MonsterVerse, the human characters are the weak point. And one of them has made it into my worst list, but you'll hear that in a minute. But I like it. I think if you're a Godzilla fan and you like the movie, the novelization is worth it for like the extra information. And I do think that it's just the narration is good. I had the Audible book, so I really liked it. I mean, like I would say it's like 3.5 stars, but for me, for like a novelization, which I have not had good luck with, I have reviews on all of these, and when I tell you, I'm still mad about it. We're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, this one's worth it though. I do like, just like I said, the extra information that's given, but I feel like especially the monsters. The main ones being Rodan. Sorry if I say them wrong. Ghidorah, Mothra, and Godzilla are going to be like the main 4. And I love Mothra. I loved Mothra in the movie, love it in the book, but like I love Mothra, and I really like kind of how she's portrayed, I guess, in the book and in the novel or in the novelization. But yeah, then you get like all of the other like Titans, you know, kind of like just a brief thing on them, but they're really cool and I like how they're described. So anyway, fun, and if you really like the movie, I would say like the novelization is worth it. Now let's talk about the best and the worst of 2024. And let's start with the worst character, which is it's not even close. There's no other contenders, and that is going to be Dr. Emma Russell from Godzilla King of the Monsters. I despise this character, despised her in the movie. I despise her so much. I like was so ready for her death. I was so ready for this character to die. Like, you have no idea. Like, the hatred I and when I watched this with my husband, the movie, I was like, she better die. She better die. So if you don't know, that, like, she's really the villain of the whole story. And no, you will not convince me otherwise. Nothing that she did was okay. So the whole plot is like the bad people are going to unleash the Titans to save the Earth. And it sounds as dumb as it is. Like, it's literally the dumbest plot, which I can suspend disbelief, like, for these movies. But even I was like, okay. So her son died in the original, like, Godzilla, the first Godzilla attack, or one of the Godzilla attacks. And she's, like, gone crazy, but apparently never gotten help. I don't know what her justification is because her character is so bad. And she decides that she's going to create this thing called the Orca, which basically makes a noise mimicking a Titan so that she can call forth and awaken these titans like Ghidorah and Rodan, and they're going to basically, you have to destroy humanity to save it. Okay, so she's like, oh no, I've studied this to where like all of the places that have been like ravaged by these monsters and these titans, they come back even better. And like there's now like rainforests and there's all this amazing stuff happening there, like new life. And this is how we're going to save the planet. Now, whenever I hear like, the ends justify the means, this is all for the greater good, I'm like, okay, I know like we've heard this before. Let's just put it that way. And I hated her. And I felt like the fact that she took her daughter with her and she was like okay with all of her colleagues being killed because she sets up all this stuff. Like she like joins a terrorist, basically like an eco-terrorist, to get her plot going so she can because she's like, oh no, he was the only one that like, so she goes to the bad person. Like she goes to the most evil person and is like, hey, join up with me. I've got this device and we're gonna like, save humanity. Her death was not satisfying enough. I hated that she got to be the one at the end to like say, like she sees that Godzilla is going to win at the end. These are all kind of spoilers, sorry. And she says like, oh, long live the king or something along that line. But I was like, how dare you? How dare you? Like, you do not get to say anything. Just die. And I was so mad that they tried to even say, because like she's responsible for the Titans all coming out and they kill millions for all that we know. Like, I mean, it's kind of like the movie wants to shy away from actual numbers, but with like the level of devastation and destruction that there's going to be so many deaths, and it's all because of her. And she doesn't care really. It's like she cares about her daughter. When she thinks that they'll be okay if they like just stay underground and like they'll just ride it out, I'm like, you don't have a conscience. And even at the end when her and the ex-husband and the daughter are all there and you're like, oh, like supposed to feel something that they're reunited, I was like, no sympathy, don't care. Like, I don't want her to be happy. She doesn't deserve any sympathy. She doesn't deserve to be like, oh yeah, we can, I know it's going to be hard later when I have to face, some kind of counsel for all the murder, like all the death that I caused. What is this? And like, don't try and make her into like, the Darth Vader of this. Like, she does not get a redemption arc. I hate her. Sorry. The novelization is fine. I enjoyed the movie fine. I like the monster fights. She is awful. I stand by that. Okay, so favorite new character, off that topic, is going to be Cthulhu, my favorite new monster. Love it. I read The Call of Cthulhu for my October spooky reads, one of them, and I just like that monster. I just feel like so unique, so different, like big fan. So that's going to be my opposite of Emma Russell being the worst, the best, Cthulhu. Okay, so my most disappointing book is going to be Fable. And only because it was so hyped when it first came out, and I was on Bookstagram at that time, so everybody was talking. This Bookstagram was before TikTok. I'm old. But everyone was talking about Fable. Like, it's so good, and it's like, this girl on the island who's, then she becomes like a sailor, and it's all like so well written, and it's just like such a great story. And I had to go back and watch my video to remember what I even felt about it, and I just didn't feel much. And I forgot a lot about the story. I forgot about what I felt about it, but also I remember vaguely like Fable on the island, trying to get off the island, her interaction with some of the crew and her being abandoned by her dad and stuff like that. Like, I remember a little, but it just didn't stay with me, and I didn't feel any desire to read the next book. So for one that was so hyped and I thought I would love, because I love like seafaring stories, even like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, I liked better. Like, I felt like more, I don't know, connected to, which is weird. I didn't feel much connection to Fable, and I could be outside of the target demographic because I'm not, young. But it seemed, I don't know, I didn't feel like there was any chemistry between the leads, which kills books for me. So if you're going to have it where there's going to be romance, it has to be believable. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. So that was most disappointing. Okay. So that's my most disappointing for 2024. But the book that surprised me the most, and, I was most, like, I don't know, not just surprised by, but, like, impressed by, would be Lois the Witch by Elizabeth Gaskell. And this one, I didn't have, like, much like expectation for it going into it, but I really liked it. I really liked the writing. It reminded me how much I like Elizabeth Gaskell's writing, and I really liked the feel of it, even though it's sad and tragic and like melancholy throughout. There's one of those books that I was like, oh, it's just good. I just like it. It's more like a short story, but I really liked it and I would recommend it. It was not one that I thought would do anything for me. I'm not super invested in like the Salem witch trial stuff, but I like history, so I thought, oh yeah, why not? And it gives a really good perspective on that and kind of what was going on then, but also very like personal because you're very invested in Lois, and it's very sad, but I like it. Lois the Witch. Let's talk about the most forgettable book, which would be A Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson. And when I tell you I had to go back and read my notes to remember the characters in this book, yeah, I was scouring my notes. Like, who is that? What were they doing? Oh yeah, she was unhappy in her marriage, and okay, she was a killer, and like I read that, and like I am very much like I can read something or take something in, and like then it's like once the information is in, like I can dump that if I don't need it anymore. But that's what my brain did. It's like, you never read that book. What book? What Talent for Murder? So forgettable. The characters, the story, the plot. Whew, no. Didn't work for me. And I've read like The Hunting Party and stuff that I didn't like by like Lucy Foley and The Guest List, which are kind of like that similar suspense style, I guess. But I remember those. Like I remember because they were like an interesting kind of awful, whereas this was just a boring kind of awful. So most forgettable, Talent for Murder. The most memorable is going to be one I have here. Oop, stuff goes flying off my desk. Okay, Lord of the Flies. I still think about this book. Is it sad? Yes. Is it worth reading? For sure. Did it stick with me? Like the deaths and like just the whole atmosphere? Yes. like I still think about that like pig head on the stake and the parachuter dying and like all the different stuff that happens in this book. I'm like, ooh, yeah, like it stayed with me, and I'm gonna say I'm impressed by that because, like I said, I can just forget about what I've read very easily. But yeah, Lord of the Flies. I won't say I loved it because I don't think that I did, but was it memorable? For sure. Will I still be thinking about it for years to come? I know that certain parts of this book will still like, oh yeah, that got to me. Yeah, like, that made me think. So most memorable, Lord of the Flies. And if you haven't read it, I would recommend it. I do think it's kind of a classic story for a reason. I would say don't, if you don't want to be disappointed, look into this guy's backstory, the author. You won't be happy. I'll just say there's some skeletons in the closet there, but I still think the book is good and worth reading. So there you go. That's my 2024 wrap up. 40 books. I may try and fit one more in. Haven't decided. Also, if you're wondering why I look different, this is my backup pair of glasses. And I wasn't going to address this, but like it's bothering me. But I have to be able to see. So yeah, when your glasses get so scratched by your kids that you can't use them, this is what happens. Backup glasses. So those are my 2024 best and worst kind of. I don't know. Like I said, it was a very, very meh year. Like I read Melody and I have a lot of reviews for books, but I felt like nothing was like awful and nothing was great. Like I did have one 5-star read, which I want to say, I'll just give like a quick shout out to The Magic on Main Street, first book, The Lies of Vampires and Slayers. But it's a 5-star read for me. Like I know that to me it's 5 stars. Like I don't know that it would be 5 stars for anyone else. This is very personal to like my taste, my humor, and things that I would find interesting. So yeah, it's a YA like urban fantasy that I would say like, for most people probably would not be 5 stars, but it just right book at the right time and I loved it. So I hope you had a good Christmas and I hope you're excited for New Year's and stay safe. I am really excited for this next year, hopefully better books ahead. And let me know in the comments what you're reading, or if you have a list for next year, let me know. I'm excited and any recommendations are always appreciated. Also, I'm almost 250 subscribers, so if you can like and subscribe, that would really help me. And I will talk to you in the next video.